So, welcome back, all the participants. So, I can see the bright face of Professor Sharma sir.
Not brighter than you, Professor Dwivedi.
So, welcome back all, and warm welcome to Sharma sir. I would like to introduce sir once again because on the occasion of inaugural session, due to some technical hiccups, he couldn't have been introduced in a proper way. So I cannot leave the personality like him without adequately introduced in front of all my participants. अभी सर कुछ कम लोग ज्वाइन किए हैं, 2-1 मिनट वेट कर लें और
हाँ, जैसा आपको ठीक लगे. Actually, अगर आप चाहें तो let's initiate and then on the run we will, have people. इसमें but I would like to request people to open up their videos if possible.
Please, participants, please open up your videos.
The video of it is like Vivid Bharati, I was speaking and kind of.
People are joining fast. 62. Though sir doesn't need any kind of introduction because he is a well-known academician and known amongst most of the faculty fraternity in India due to his academic research and social endeavors and successes in his bouquet. Just to begin with the formal introduction, Professor Sharma is a professor in Department of Management Studies, IIT Roorkee. Currently, he is training and placement officer there. That is an administrative responsibility which he is having nowadays. He completed his PhD from, MBA from Philippines Christian University, Manila, and MBA from AKTU and PhD from AKTU, Lucknow. With a couple of decades professional experience, Professor Vinay Sharma had been an eminent researcher and had held several of high importance positions in his entire career. He has been awarded with Noel Der Gold Medal and has been accorded with several recognitions as well. He has international collaborations with Copenhagen Business School and fellow in several other universities, foreign universities. He has published significant number of research papers with national and international repute. Most of them are ABDC listed, and authored several very accoladed books, highly accoladed books. He delivered workshops and trained around 5,000 faculty members, corporate executives, managers, leaders, etc. We are blessed to have him as a resource person. Apart from this, I would like to tell you that he is one amongst them, amongst those personalities in academic fraternity for me, whom I respect the most. So please welcome Professor Vinay Sharma for this session.
Thank you, Dr. Dwivedi, for such a kind introduction. You have always been very kind to me. Thank you so much. And I should beforehand tell everyone that I am not worthy of such kind of a wonderful introduction at all. It's the kindness of Dr. Dwivedi who has introduced me. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking on design thinking, innovation, and creativity for 2 sessions, one today and one tomorrow. And I would be requesting you to be participative, talk as much as you can, so that we can learn from each other. The most important element of such kind of programs is that so many academicians, they join hands together, and if they do not somehow contribute, then everyone will go with one single point of view. So I would request you to initiate the discussion beforehand, and then I'll try to do that. And tomorrow I would be having some structured view from your side. So before leaving today's session, I would be putting up a thought in front of you so that you can come in tomorrow and give me a structured view on what we have discussed today, because tomorrow we will be discussing on processes. And today we would be introducing the concept of design thinking and innovation and creativity, which is known to you, but we will look at it with different kinds of perspectives we are carrying together. So first of all, I would float this discussion with a question. What is your thought about design thinking, first of all? Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, sir. Namaskar.
Yeah.
Sir, design thinking is assuming something or imagining something with a very, very new level or from a very, very new insight or perspective. Like if we have been using something for long, like a water tap, and somebody is asked to create a water tap or make a water tap. So that the concept should be very, very new, not influenced by previous designs, and completely new thinking that can come to somebody's mind. So
Okay.
without any preoccupations, thinking in a new directions with a new perspective.
Okay. Yeah.
Design thinking essentially is a process where you look at a particular problem statement from a very radically different view rather than a stereotypical view that has always existed. So it's basically a process of thinking and how you're going to arrive at a solution to a problem from a diametrically opposite view.
Okay.
What I feel is design thinking is, and what I feel is design thinking is, it is a funnel kind of an approach where we have an intuitive kind of thinking, a heuristic kind of thinking, making guesses and making changes to our thought process and coming to a final conclusion kind of a thing on the process that we want to implement the product or a process for our business. So it is kind of a funnel approach where we have a left and right brain both working together. So that's what is my thought on design thinking.
Interesting.
My take is design thinking where users are at the center, and empathy is the core of design thinking.
Okay. Yes, anyone else? You see, there are two elements which interestingly you have projected, but please forgive me, it has generated a paradox actually. Now, you see, you are saying that it should be new, it should not be stereotyped, and then it should be funneled up. And you see, now one is suggesting deductive and one is suggesting inductive here. And then someone says, no, let's go to the connect with the user basically, or empathize with the situation fundamentally. So now anyone wants to comment on, because now the situation has jumbled up. It's a paradox now. Because if we want to be inductive, we can't be deductive at the same time.
So we have to be inductive and deductive at some time. So sometime we have to be inductive and sometime we have to be deductive. It's not that we can be completely inductive and we cannot
Now,
be
ma'am,
deductive.
let's translate this thought into a product. So if we have generated some process or a product by being inductive, can we be deductive at the same time while we have generated a huge process and a product?
I have to answer that after getting cues from you on what you think as inductive, sir.
No. Inductive means inductive basically. I don't think very specifically it's a specific word connoting something basically.
Can you
Anyways,
give an example on the product, sir?
I'll come to that. Yeah. Yes. Because you see, I want to learn where do we stand in terms of carrying paradoxes basically. For example, it's very interesting. Someone said, okay, it should be out of box. It should not be kind of stereotyped. Okay. Anyone else? You want to add something? Yeah. Dr. Asha, you want to say something? Okay. You see, let's try to simplify the conceptual underpinning of design thinking fundamentally. Design thinking is all about connecting all the dots. I'll elaborate that. I'll elaborate that with an initial example and a very, in a very, very fundamental kind of a thing by asking you another question. For example, and it is one of my favorites, the shopping cart. Someone thought of shopping cart. Why would someone think of a shopping cart in a shopping mall? And what has shopping cart done finally? So there are two questions. I would request you to please throw some light on that. Why would someone have thought of shopping cart? We all know what shopping carts are, trolleys. And then what has it done?
Sir, it has increased the amount or the number of things that we do shopping, because if we don't have a shopping cart, again we may stick to a limited things. So that can be one thing, that people may take one or two things more in a shopping cart because of that.
Yes.
The shopping cart essentially is there for ease of the consumer, to give him the liberty to basically solving his problem. But
Right.
At the end of it, it is giving me a payoff in the sense, because he has ease of convenience, it is increasing his attractability to my products and thereby increasing my revenue at the end.
Very good. That's perfect. Yeah. But what else? What is further being done? Because when you increase shopping, what does that mean actually?
Sir, the billing process is simplified, sir, because now we have all the items. If we do online shopping, in the shopping cart, everything is put and billed. So the billing time is reduced. There is no need to stand in a queue for a long time and then pay the amount for the items we have shopped. So it is a good experience.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What else? Yes, it's getting interesting now. I like it. Yes. What else? There are so many people. Why I would love that people should participate basically. How many? Oh my God, 75 participants, Dr. Dwivedi. Congratulations, you have a long list, but I don't find many people interacting with me.
Please interact. Please, participants.
No, I'm not coaxing someone, but it would be fine if someone speaks. And please open up your cameras as much as you can. It's very frightening to talk to names actually. You know. No, for example, if I switch off my camera and I keep on speaking, you would have very different, perplexed kind of a view.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it's very important for us to show our expressions while talking to each other.
Please
Yes.
switch on your camera.
Sir, to some extent, for the people who carry the kids, also the shopping cart is a kind of a fun for that also. I mean, that you can say it's one of the funny thing, but yeah, it do help for that purpose also.
That's good. Wonderful. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going. Yes, keep going. Yes. You see, if students would have been there, I would have started taking their names. But you are my fraternity basically. You are colleagues actually. I can't just go and randomly call your names to speak actually. That will be absurd.
Sir, I think card we can use for the better prices. Like we have seen that Amazon and the online platforms, they are providing different, we can say, the cashbacks and the offers. So for that also we can use and we can we can enjoy the shopping. So due to the cards also we are getting that satisfaction. Yes, we are getting discounts and cashbacks.
Now let's imagine one thing. All of us are sitting together. A large shopping mall calls us, all these 76 people, including Dr. Dwivedi, who is the reason for this gathering, because he is the most responsible person in amongst all of us. So he will lead us. Now, we are called to that meeting, and that shopping mall, head of that shopping mall, he asks us that there are almost 5,000 types of items. In numbers, it is more than 1 million. This is the footfall. There are 2 things I want you to advise me on. And shopping cart is the basic reason. You have already identified that. There are 2 things you suggest me. What kind of an inventory management system should I go for? What kind of a production system associated with that inventory management system should I go for? What kind of a human resource system should I go for? What kind of a forecasting should I do in terms of number of products and types of items which would be moving from my shelf? What is going to be your answer? No, it's not a simple answer because he will be calling all 76 of us. So we will be sharing the money out of it. Yes.
I believe that for the sake of convenience, the shopping carts must be enabled with the billing MICR coding that is there. For that, we go for a queue later on after having taken things in the cart, and we go for a queue rather than if the shopping carts are enabled with the QR code reading. So instantly after having logged on with your cards, so you start getting your bills as soon as you pick up the products. So the billing.
That I absolutely agree. But what I am trying to ask here is that the kind of shopping changes which you have just suggested that shopping cart has introduced in the shopping habits of consumers, that has an instigative effect on inventory management, shelf management, production management, operations management, human resource management, marketing, forecasting, advertising, everything.
Marketing. I hope that it's marketing. More people motivate the people to buy more. That's why they apply the card.
Sorry?
Actually, sir, what I feel is.
No, just a moment, ma'am. Dr. R. Kathian.
Motivate the people to buy more. That's why they provide the facility of shopping card.
So they are buying more, Professor. But the point is that now what to do? The purpose has been solved. That I agree with you. But how to manage that now?
We have a data for the past purchases, and on the basis of that data that belongs to a particular buyer, so we can have AI like what is his regular purchase items, for that individuals, if a customer, like if I'm having cards for, or any customer is having cards for any mega mall, so we have a tendency of buying of that product for that particular person. And this study of this tendency can help us in forecasting that what is going to be my regular purchase for that particular product.
Okay, I'll go into this, but just to introduce the concept of design thinking. While conceiving a process change which will facilitate the habits of consumers, whole of the process has to be conceived starting from production to inventory management to human resource management to market and advertising and forecasting. This is called design thinking. As simple as that. Ladies and gentlemen, please take note of this. Design thinking is not a piecemeal thing. Design thinking is not out of box. Design thinking is not just innovative thinking. Design thinking is not just conceiving thing. Design thinking is basically visualizing the complete value chain wherever you put up a change, basically. Whichever way you put up a change. Design thinking is conceiving the complete value chain. Design thinking is that post-COVID, after all people are vaccinated, how things would change or would not change. That is called design thinking.
Right.
What kind of a policy and economic changes have to be brought in after vaccination? Should we bank upon vaccination? Should we not? To what extent? What are those things which we have to do necessarily? All this is called design thinking, basically. The failure of design thinking was the lack of oxygen thing, basically, was the lack of ambulance thing, was the lack of people going back homes on foot, basically. That was design thinking. That was lack of design thinking, because 1918, when pandemic came, there was no system generated out of this, basically. You see, visualizing things, there would always be scarcity of resources. Design thinking talks about actually utilizing the resources in an integrated aspect, basically. Design thinking is the only element which talks about that every element within a structure is connected to each other. Design thinking talks about that, how financial management, how HR management, how marketing management, or production operations and inventory and so on, they are connected to each other. How those things have to be managed structurally. Design thinking is when you are putting up a headlamp change. And now this is another question, basically. I ask someone in a factory to change the entire shape of the headlamp of a vehicle. What should that person think of? He's a decision maker, he's a qualified engineer, management graduate, taught by one of us, XYZ. I ask him that somehow this type of a design would look more beautiful. For example, there is a rectangular light. I suggest that let's go for an oval light. What would happen? Very simple question. But and now I want answers from people who have not been speaking at all. You see, if we would have been in a room, then I would have, stood in front of everyone to request for an answer. But this is, I am compelled to request everyone to go on, basically, because I don't have any control on the situation. So please go ahead.
Sir, the person would ask for cost versus benefit analysis of changing the design.
Okay, agreed. What else?
So the first thing is that the government of India has certain regulations for headlamps. It is not just the change in design that matters, it's also how safe or how safely the headlamp can actually illuminate the road. And we start with basic halogen, and now we are getting LEDs, but then there is also a cost proposition. Halogens work quite okay, but they are energy intensive. And in between we have HIDs, high intensity, but still they are expensive, as well as energy not that efficient.
Anand ji, you are talking of type of light, basically. I'm talking of shape of the headlamp, basically.
Shape of the headlamp, if it is a reflector type, then it can be changed, sir. But if it is a projector type, then there's not much. It is
I'm talking of the shape of the headlamp. I'm not
from
talking
square
of the
to oval.
projection. I'm talking of rectangle or oval. That's all. Simple. Rectangle to oval. But that's all. The question is very plain.
It'll even
I wish to change the rectangle light into an oval light. Okay, direct question.
depends on what vehicle, sir. Because
Car, automotive, car, auto, four-wheeler.
it'll need sheet metal changes as well. It is going to take a lot of it. It needs a lot of deep thinking because you will need a
yes.
different set of dies for changing the sheet metal. तो सिर्फ sheet metal नहीं नीचे bumper भी change करना पड़ेगा.
Yes.
Not that
Go ahead. Yes.
So sheet metal changes. If there are sheet metal changes, then you'll need a separate set of dies. If it is, if the headlight, if it extends down into the bumper, then you'll need a separate set of injection molds.
Yes.
And then if it is only the external shape, then fine. But if the internal socket changes, then wiring will need to change.
Yes.
Um,
Cavity would change, the panel
Cavity
would
would
change,
change.
the doors would change, the shape of the vehicle might also change.
Could change.
Yes.
But
exactly. Now we are on the same plane. Same thing happened with Scorpio.
Scorpio, yeah.
Scorpio design was when being made. Initially, Scorpio borrowed the headlamps of Bolero.
Okay.
But then Mr. Pawan Goenka, he suggested no, I would go for the headlamps of a Scorpio, as a Scorpio has round and oval. You know, Scorpio has oval eyes basically. I want
Scorpions,
the
yeah, yeah.
headlamps of this oval.
Right.
And that changed. That took Lucas and Lumax 2 years to redesign everything, and Scorpio, even the production line was redesigned for that.
For sheet metal changes, all those
Yes.
things. Oh, okay.
And consumer behavior was also studied once again, because this rectangular light was well accepted in the market. Rectangular or round lights were well accepted in the market in terms of the apparent front look of a vehicle.
It gives a certain rugged look, yes.
Yes.
Because especially the Bolero, since it relied, the basic shape was from the Willys Jeep, which originally had round headlights.
Exactly. And that is what is design thinking. You see, ladies and gentlemen, what Anandji just has taught us, basically, a very simple change in an automotive will instigate the complete process of change in the production process, in the design of the vehicle itself, and may change the consumer response as well. And then there is a cost benefit analysis and those kind of things which have to be done. That is for sure, basically, because door molding is one of the costliest elements of an automotive design.
Right, sir. For example, every facelift in any automobile usually comes with a price hike.
Yes.
Saying increased input costs.
Yes. And then there is definitely a retraining of people associated with production process. You see, automotive design is a very complex kind of a thing. Maruti Suzuki produces a vehicle in 22 to 35 seconds on an average. It's a tough deal when we talk of such kind of production processes, when we talk of seconds of, kind of thing, basically, to build up inventory. And we are talking of millions of cars here.
Right, sir. What I've just...
It brings out a plethora of changes in terms of, as far as the quantum of price. It will alter the interest of the investors. The board of governors would be alarmed by just a simple kind of a thing, basically, because they understand what it is going to do in terms of the flow of goods and the sales volume. And immediately the stock price might get a hit if you declare that this year we are lowering down the volume without no reason, basically.
Right.
And that is going to be a very dramatic change, and no CEO would survive with that kind of a change, actually. That is why Mr. Pawan Goenka is regarded as one of the most historical personalities in the field of automotive structuring and design. And he turned around Mahindra's from almost a situation of decline to one of the most successful organizations in this country. He was in US working with a multinational company when he was brought by Mr. Anand Mahindra here. And then he, along with 8 people, redesigned Scorpio on the same operations and production line and brought in incremental changes in that vehicle, stepping towards Bolero and then towards Scorpio and putting incremental changes in Scorpio and then shifting the production line and then going for another line for XUV series, TUV series, and then XUV 500 and so on, and converting the fortune of this organization. And then he retired as the managing director of Mahindra Automotives recently. You see, what I'm trying to put up here is the leadership element of design thinking and a very simple kind of a thing which can instigate N number of processes all through. As academicians, students are eligible to learn this from us. As academicians, it is our responsibility and duty to visualize those kind of things fundamentally and to tell our students that this is how things would get managed. I will give you a very simple kind of another question. And I once again request you to open up your videos as much as you can. It's again getting monotonous, but still, I don't know what compulsions would be there at your end, but still, as many of you can do that. Now, there is a real life problem which one of my students faced when he was working with Maruti Suzuki. So he was my management student, then he did PhD with me, and now he is associate director of Walmart, Shashikant. So he was working with Maruti Suzuki, India in industrial relations. He's a marketing graduate basically, but he was working at the time and he has done very pivotal changes. So Shashi told me once that he was given a problem by his superiors to reduce 2 things. One, to reduce the late entry by 35-40 seconds by large number of employees, because there were so many buses coming from all the sides and they had to manage that kind of a thing, and almost 1 minute was the buffer, and his boss said that this buffer has to be reduced by 40 seconds or so. You see, I'm talking of very precise kind of a system which these companies are following. And then the second problem was that during tea time, there were 2-3 tea times. During tea time, the total allocated time was 7 to 8 minutes, but usually it had a spillover of almost 2 minutes. So how to manage that a person from his bay comes to the tea place and within 7 minutes drink the tea and goes back, and no spillage of time is there. Okay, this problem was solved by them, but I wish to ask you that what difference does it make actually? How would it create difference to save 2.5 minutes in a factory time?
Sir, it does make a huge difference when you're getting one fully assembled car every 35 seconds. In 2 minutes, you're getting almost 4 cars. It makes a huge difference.
Exactly. And when you are calculating about almost 300 days of production, basically, you see, so that is a big difference. See, that is where if you are talking of 2.5 minutes into 300, now that is big actually. That is very, very big, in fact. So that means almost 3,000 cars. Now, if you convert into that, revenue, basically 3,000 cars on an average price of almost 5 lakhs. So 5 lakhs into 3,000, it's crores and crores of rupees, and that is what they care for. You see, that is where these organizations they have reached, and that is why they actually expect such kind of an understanding from our students. And that is what they are looking in terms of consulting from us, basically. You see, they want us to understand. You see, for example, we have traditionally not been caring about, the minutes or seconds or whatsoever, kind of, because they want us to understand that, for example, our railways in a cumulative amount has got late for thousands of hours in history of a decade or so, what kind of a revenue difference it has made. For example, all of us know that this bullet train in Japan doesn't even gets delayed by milliseconds actually. So they have created a system out of that. All the passengers coming in line, boarding, moving, and then how everyone is in the line. So the third takeaway is, you see, first takeaway was the composite view about design thinking. The second takeaway is that how one instigation in a process, that is, let's say, shopping cart, one instigation in the structure, that is again headlamps, one instigation in human resource management, that is, for example, managing the time of people. So you start from anywhere, it is going to end up in a huge volume change in revenue basically. And that is, you see, if you are about, for example, we are talking of 5 lakhs into 3,000, and if you are able to save 5 lakhs into 1,000 only, you have saved lots of money to the company actually. And that definitely would matter to the liquidity. People from accounting and finance would know that matters a lot in terms of giving you a buffer and so on, and then it will alter the stock value and so on, whichever way you want to look at it. Plus the total convert, I would not go into that detail, but tomorrow probably we would talk about this, that total conversion of all these things. Not only is the market share or revenue or flow of money, basically, the total conversion of all these things is related to brand development and brand equity of an organization. That is why Maruti Suzuki, since its inception, has not lost its market share nor the brand equity at all. One of the most regarded automotive companies in this country since its inception. And definitely, lots of credit goes to Mr. Bhargav, who headed that organization for a very, very long time. So, you see, the point is that this is where design thinking perspective comes in. Now, I want and request you for quick comments and questions. Then let's switch over to innovation perspective, because Prabhatji has given me 3 assignments today. So,
excuse me, मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था सर कि जैसे अभी अगर हम नेटवर्क की बात करें, इंटरनेट की बात करें, तो जैसे जियो का कॉम्पिटिटर नहीं है मार्केट में। तो मेरे अंदर कभी-कभी ऐसे वो आते हैं कि अगर कॉम्पिटिटर नहीं रहेगा तो मोनोपोली आ जाएगी। तो मेरे आइडियाज ऐसे होते हैं कि एयरटेल की हेल्प करूँ या आइडिया की हेल्प करूँ, किसी भी तरीके से इनोवेटिव तरीके से, तो मैं किस तरीके से अप्रोच कर सकता हूँ उनको और किस तरीके से उनकी हेल्प कर सकता हूँ बाय माय इनोवेशन। अगर मेरे पास कुछ आइडियाज हैं तो उनके साथ मैं कैसे शेयर कर सकता हूँ जिससे कि उनका भी बेनिफिट हो और मेरा भी बेनिफिट हो।
बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट सवाल है आपका धीरज जी। थैंक यू सो मच, यू हैव आस्क्ड दिस क्वेश्चन, एंड आई विल अगेन इनिशिएट द डिस्कशन विद अनदर क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस बेसिकली। बट और कोई सवाल करना चाहें इस बीच तो प्लीज पूछ लें मुझसे, तब हम लोग फिर आगे बढ़ें।
जी, my question is how to collect the GST with the system of GST is very good. The collection of GST not up to the mark. We are having a 136 crores. Most of the people paid the tax, but there is no regulation for checking whether it is go to the government or not. Lot of the business people hide the aviation, the tax. What is the system?
Dr. Kathiyan, I think that
Yes,
is
sir.
not in the purview of this discussion, basically talking about GST. So I would refrain from that discussion, if you please excuse me on that. I will focus on design thinking, innovation, and creativity only as of now.
Okay, it's a real-time problem as a faculty.
We can talk about it separately. You can, we can fix up a time and we can connect on with some platform, basically, or we can exchange mails on that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
One more thing I would add that अगर someone else has some idea about someone else question, they can solve their problem if someone have some idea.
हाँ, मतलब आप ये कहना चाहते हैं कि why should companies they accept my ideas? Because of the fact that they are doing very well, they are large and so on, kind of. And then you have referred to competition. Okay, I'll come to that. Any other questions, please?
I just wanted to know how Shashikant actually solved those 2 problems.
Shashikant solved the first problem through again traditional transportation model. Basically, they sat with the team, they went into the route planning of all the buses coming from all the sides, and because as someone was saying today, we have all the traffic data, we have AI, and Maruti Suzuki is very capable of having those kind of algorithms. Shashi definitely is a IIT trained graduate, so he has all this access. So he sat with his team and they worked upon transportation model without hampering. Their problem was that they should not be hampering or preponing the timing of boarding by the passengers, because they would object to it. And there is a strong union system in these kind of organizations, so they would not actually go for that. So they did not alter the boarding time, but they focused upon transportation system, and all the buses are GPS fitted kind of things. So they actually guided their drivers to on two things: on braking, that is braking the speed, and using the route at particular kinds of timings on particular kinds of days. So drivers, they had the fixed routes. So they said that during 2 points, if there is no passenger, the diversion on these kind of days were advised to the drivers basically. And that thing worked because their focus was not to change the timing of all the buses. Their focus was to change the timing of the few buses so that the clutter on the gate can be removed. So that created a sequence, and they reduced that thing beyond whatever was expected to them. And as far as the tea situation goes, so they went for putting up, there was a system that they used to put, tea pots at several places as per the convenience of people basically. Now, they did not remove the convenience, but they created entry and exit points from wherever the bays were actually. So they created more pathways from, for example, I am working here and I have to go that side and then go that side. So they created, openings in front of the bays basically. And that was
so basically they shortened the route.
Yes, shortened the route, and that was some additional cost on the part of, but that was hardly, opening up a door in a plant is not a big deal. So those kind of things were done. And then there were two things more which were done basically. The temperature of the tea was slightly reduced actually. Yes, it was too high, and then people used to wait for that tea to cool down after it was poured. So that was again a very good observation, because Shashi went there and he started sipping the tea and he said, I can't drink it at first. So then he asked people that how many of you start drinking it on the first go? So everyone said no, we don't drink it on the first go. So he said, why to have that kind of a temperature? Reduce that temperature so that people should start drinking as soon as it is poured. And then he did one more thing. He slightly widened up the opening of the cups basically,
so that it cools faster.
Yes. So that brought in very simple changes, but that saved lots of time for them. And that helped them in the final negotiations also, because Shashi is one of those people who revamped the compensation system of employees radically in Maruti Suzuki when he was there. So it was his leadership which actually did that. After that, he shifted over to Walmart. So
win-win situation, right?
So one general question to you: who is going to take over Ford factory in Chennai, Marimalai Nagar? Because they are going to wrap up their business here in India. So if you know any information on that, you can share it.
I don't have any categorical information on this basically, but you see, these kind of plants, they never go waste actually. The point here is that at this moment, there is no one who wants to increase the production. But then the larger players, they want additional capacities to support international markets. But point is that they are waiting for the pockets where COVID would reduce. So if they will find that a particular pocket in the world would be having larger sales volume, so any of the manufacturers who is largely into exports, they might take over those plants. That is one part. The other part is that Ford even would think of coming back once they decide, that market is again ripe basically, because these plants, they have a depreciation life of more than 3-4 years if kept idle on just, kind of cleaning kind of thing basically. So because they are not entangled in lots of government problems or those relations which are not working with government as such, their interest has diluted. So that is the only thing basically.
So why they didn't do design thinking for their vehicles? They would have been a profitable concern in India if they had done design thinking.
It's a very
for-
important question, ma'am. But the point is, what I have really found in terms of many of the multinational companies, India has not been a very prominent market for them for a very, very long time. And by the time they thought of India being a viable, larger market, for example, Ford is a huge organization. So Ford, even you see this Procter and Gamble, they earned losses in India for almost 27 years because they never considered India as a very viable market for themselves. So last decade or so, Procter and Gamble, they started working when they realized that Ghadi detergent has started working more as compared to Procter and Gamble. And Prabhat ji knows Ghadi detergent more than anyone else here. So because Ghadi detergent it belongs to Kanpur. So when they realized that these companies are rising, then Procter and Gamble started taking India seriously. Otherwise, Hindustan Unilever was the only organization which was earning lots of money out of India. Then this Nirma came in, and today Patanjali is the king, as we all know. So, but again,
Thank
the
you,
point
sir.
is,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
One more question, Sarmaji. One more question. Why multinational company Nokia failed? Is a pioneer. Once upon a time, it's a pioneer in cell phone market. Now it is a failure one. What is the reason behind it, Ji?
Which organization? Sorry.
Nokia.
Okay. Don't quote it somewhere. Europeans are conservative and rigid by attitude in traditional terms. Nokia is a Finnish company. They ruled the world at a very larger level, and they somehow did not, compromised on their rigid aspect of whatever they thought was right in terms of. Japanese and Koreans are highly flexible in terms of marketing and approach to market. Europeans are very specific, and that is not the only case with Nokia. You will randomly find n number of organizations with belonging to Europe. Even Nestle, Maggie case. Even you think in terms of Thomson Television, which was a French company again, and you will find hundreds of European companies which they want to follow their decline, but they don't want to change so easily. That is a general attitude of European organizations.
Really, it is eye break session, sir. You have interaction. You have to wake up people like us. Thank you, bro, sir. Thank you, Jarmaji.
Okay. So now, you see, the point here is, I'll start from what Dheeraj ji was asking me. So, he referred to as that how to look at that monopolistic kind of a situation. So, Dheeraj ji, my question before I initiate the discussion on innovation and while answering your question as well, how do you define competition?
Sir, for the competition, I would say that for the market perspective, the customer segment is same, and the customer segment is same. Now, if two competitors are there, then each one have to have ability to greet the customers or connect the customers. How you are able to, or how you are
simple
skills.
Competition can be defined in terms of substitutes and alternatives, fulfilling the need or fulfilling the want.
Yeah.
So need, for example, I am hungry, so can be fulfilled with so many things basically. So substitution and alternative are economic realities. Competition fundamentally is thought of in terms of substitution and alternative, and actually percolates down to the share of pocket expense. No company in this world has a monopolistic kind of a situation as of now, and would never enjoy that, because customer would direct its, you see, even in case of vaccine, people are not monopolistic. Getting my point? because customer rejects an organization after a particular kind of a stage. So there is nothing like monopoly and monopolistic perspective here, because information flow has equated things basically, and there is a philosophy, or I should say now a model, N is equal to 1, R is equal to G by Professor C.K. Prahlad, fulfilling individual needs through multiple resources from around the world. And that is what precisely the whole of this world is following actually. They are having several plants around the world, and you never know from where your specific good which you have ordered is coming from. You never know. Sometimes it is written made in Malaysia, sometimes it is written made in China, sometimes it is written made that. Sometimes the company is Korean and it is made in China. I could not find something made in Japan for my daughter while I was roaming around in Tokyo. All the Japanese companies are getting their goods manufactured in China now. So what I'm trying to say is that whole of the world wherein information flow is fast basically, so customer has all the options to switch over to the other product and other alternatives as well, or other things as well, wiping off the complete requirement of a particular kind of a category of service altogether actually. So competition is not to be seen with reference to large scaled production or service. Competition should be seen with reference to the substitution and alternative, how a particular desire or a need of a customer should be met.
Okay, sir, I would add something to the question. Actually, मेरा मतलब ये था कि अभी Jio is miles ahead to the other ISPs. तो मेरा उद्देश्य ये है कि जो पीछे रह गई उनको सिक्सर मारना पड़ेगा, मतलब कुछ बड़ा
they might change the product category service service perspective altogether.
तो उस सिक्सर, अगर वो सिक्सर जैसे अगर मान लेता हूँ जो कंपनी का एम्प्लॉई है या कंपनी का लीडर है वो नहीं कर पा रहा है, एक लेमैन या मैं करना चाहता हूँ, तो मैं किस तरीके से उनकी हेल्प कर सकता हूँ? अगर मेरे पास कुछ इनोवेटिव आइडिया है तो हाउ कैन शेयर माय आइडिया टू देम एंड हाउ कैन अर्न मी आल्सो एंड दे आल्सो?
By giving them pertinent customer insights. You see, the point is when people grow large, Jio bhi yahi galti kar raha hai, Airtel has also done that same mistake, that when you grow large you feel that whatever I am providing would be used by the customer as I want them to do, because I am giving them so dirt cheap prices that they will keep on purchasing that.
Exactly.
That is fallacy. So you have to guide the organization in terms of the real desires and want of the customer basically. In today's era, the real desire and real want of the customer lies in the flow of education and getting those people out of that situation basically who want to use that information for their upliftment rather than entertainment. That is the biggest market in this world.
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
So that is what you should be guiding them for basically, that why don't you look at the poorest of the people. I asked this question to one organization which was selling memory tablets, memory enhancing tablets made out of Brahmi. So they said that we will sell this for 3 rupees 50 paisa per tablet. I said people who can afford a tablet worth 3 rupees 50 paisa do not require memory enhancement basically. They are well nourished people actually. So why don't you market those things for the people who require memory support actually, for elderlies, for poor, those kind of. So increase your production, reduce your prices and reach to those people and enhance your, distribution setup and so on. That is it. Yeah. So I'll take one more question which was asked by Chetan Bagul and then Munna Kumar on, can you give example related to service sector, relative advantage over others in terms of service and quality and so on. Okay. So I did not understand this relative advantage thing basically on terms of service quality. Munna Kumarji, if you can ask that by opening up your mic. And while I understand this first question, can you give example related to service sector? Example related to service sector in context to what, Chetanji? Yes. Mr. Chetan, would you like to ask me what if a definition, it was a definition of competition related to hotel guest service? No, hotel guest service related to design thinking?
Hello.
Yes.
No, sir. Just I had you asked what was competition. Then I typed there that it is a relative advantage over others in terms of service or quality.
Acha, okay,
Ah,
right. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And Chetan Bagul is saying that related to hotel guest service in terms of design thinking. Okay, you want me to talk about design thinking in terms of service industry. That is what you want. So there is no difference in terms of imagining, the design thinking in terms of service industry, basically, because you are creating infrastructure in terms of hotel industry, and you want people to come and stay there. Now, the only thing is that why would people stay there? So people would stay there if they want to go to that particular kind of a place. So hotel industry is associated with one kind of a place, actually. So either you work on place and hotel, and if you are willing to take advantage of that place by putting up a hotel there, then you have to rely on the branding or positioning of that particular kind of a place for marketing your hotel. So people, they never think in terms of developing hotel infrastructure while contributing in terms of that branding or positioning of place. I will give you one example. All the hotels in Haridwar, they bank upon the thing that people would come to Ganges and would stay in their hotels. They have never contributed in developing Haridwar as such. And they have never contributed in developing the positioning of Haridwar as a tourist place, basically. So it's a religious tourist place wherein people come by their own and stay in the hotels whichever are available. So up till now, up till last month, there was no 5-star rated hotel in Haridwar. Now they have one, basically, which is by Taj Group, actually. So they have acquired a property near Ganges. So that is why ordinary common hotels were working on. So no one ever thought of transportation, hotel and place branding together. So in service industry, for example, hotel, transportation, place branding, and hotel are to be looked upon with a consonance. Okay, now I would go to innovation perspective. You see, when we talk of integration of this end to that end and visualizing everything together, tomorrow we will be referring to that kind of a process. How should we do that? Innovation is now comes in with that original answer which people were talking about, wherein when someone referred to as out of box thinking or incremental thinking or those kind of things. Basically, once you have all the dots in your visualization, then you have to find the newer ways of putting value in that complete value chain, in that complete scenario. Now, newer ways of putting value can be very, very, very versatile. For example, let me start from production. I'll come to market, which is my core area, and then talk about HR as well, finance as well. Now, when we talk of, putting, we have discussed, for example, this trolley and automotive and service and so on. You choose any area, let's start from operations and production, basically. And you see, there you are looking for putting up value in the design. Now that can be brought in by production processes, and that can be brought in by material knowledge as well. If you can find a material to replace the complete material which is existing in terms of, for example, in automotives, we have come a long way from metal to metaplast. Now, I will tell you one interesting thing, basically, of both the material and processes. For example, I am consulting with a very large infrastructure consulting company which has a global presence nowadays. So they have very interesting assignments, and they have participated in largest of the assignments in India as far as their own consulting. So I am advising them on several kinds of new processes nowadays. Now it's very interesting discussion which goes on, because I am not a civil engineer at all. But then you see, that gives me an advantage of throwing any idea which might not have relevance and their executive director is a good friend of mine. So now, so he says that you take any idea from out of blue and throw it at me, not knowing that this won't work so easily. So I said that you have not hired me a consultant because I would be giving you easy ideas basically. You see, so recently I gave them an idea that why not to print low-cost bridges across rivers. Now that is a process as well as a material change actually. So you see, when we are thinking in terms of infrastructure or infrastructure development, 4D printing and 3D printing has brought in a huge change. And we are talking of complete process. For example, we are talking of hotel industry, as Chetanji was saying, and I am initiating a hotel in Uttarkashi, for example. And there is huge roadblocks coming up in rainy seasons. Bridges, they get torn off. How to reconstruct the bridges by local agencies, or let's say the hotel itself? Can we do that? Or I have, sort of purchased a land wherein it's a beautiful piece. People would like to come there from all over the world, but then the passage to reach to that land is very, very difficult, and I have and then local authorities might not be constructing costly bridges for me basically. So either I should be leaving that land, or somehow I should facilitate the people to reach there. So either I should be picking up them by helicopters and dropping them there, or if they want to roam around, I don't have bridges to cross. For example, there's a delta sort of a situation when river is passing by from both the sides, and I have a piece of land in between, and I've created a resort there, and it's a costly resort basically. I have gone for yoga retreat and this and that whatsoever. So what should I do? In today's situation, I can utilize 3D and 4D printing for constructing a bridge. Just Google printing of a bridge. You will realize that Netherlands, they constructed a bridge out of printing actually. So today, process and material basically facilitates the complete kind of a situation. Today, there are several parts, miniature parts, for example, hearing aid devices, or let's say headphones. They are 3D printed largely. We have gone for advanced printing procedures basically. There is 4D printing wherein shape memory alloys are used. They remember their shape out of when they come out of the printer, and they regain the shape which they were destined to. Just Google shape memory alloys and you will find so many things actually. So what I'm talking of here is to facilitate design thinking. Innovation at every stage is utilized. One of my favorite examples, which I love to share with everyone, I came across that organization almost 15 years back, but I could not reach them because they were not on Google. I did not find their phone number. 4 years back, one of my research scholars, Sumit Mishra, who is now teaching at Bennett University, so he was working with me on his PhD, and then I could identify where that organization is actually through Just Dial. Basically, I served about that organization and I could find their telephone number on Just Dial, and rest was done by Sumit. He contacted Mr. Virangad Sharma of Veena Vadini School, and he went to meet him. By the time some videos of Veena Vadini School were posted by few people on internet, and now several large organizations, they have started interacting with them. Just Google Veena Vadini School, Mr. Virangad Sharma. Now, Mr. Virangad Sharma is a strong example of design thinking and innovation. He, almost 27 years back, he was visiting his village, and he realized that young children are becoming alcoholics. What to do? It's a very strange problem. So you open up an NGO and stop children to drink basically. What next can be done? Because those children were selling alcohol. You see, in those areas in Singrauli, there are coal mines, and the laborers, they purchase country liquor which is made out of local fruits there. And these children, they get involved in collecting those fruits and distillation of those fruits into alcohol, and then they sell the alcohol. A young child of 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, whatsoever, starts earning 100, 200, 500 rupees a day, his parents are happy, even if he becomes a drunkard or so, whatsoever. So Mr. Virangat Sharma was, devastated on this thought. Mr. Virangat Sharma was serving in Indian Army at that time. And a soldier looking at his village getting devastated by alcoholism, it's a depreciative thought in the mind of that soldier, basically. So when he was going back to his unit, he was disheartened. And suddenly he was thinking how to change the scenario, how to bring in people, because he knew that these children would be the next generation, and all of them becoming alcoholics would destroy the socio-economic fabric of that village. So Mr. Virangat Sharma was going in a train, and he was reading a magazine wherein he read an article that the first president of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad ji, used to write simultaneously with both hands. And that instigated a process in the mind of Mr. Virangat Sharma. And this process is the true example of design thinking and innovation and creativity as well. All three are covered in this example, and this is one of the most beautiful examples I have ever seen in my life, actually. Mr. Virangat Sharma started practicing while writing with both hands. Then he resigned from his unit and took pension and came back to his village, opened up a very, very small school near a temple, started writing with both hands, got the students attracted towards this kind of a thing. Very few children started attending school. He offered food and those kind of things as well. Then he started practicing writing 2 different languages simultaneously while writing with both hands. And then he started practicing writing 2 different languages and 2 different subjects simultaneously with both hands. And children got magic and they got attracted. Virangat Sharma started training children, and then he started putting up condition that no alcohol sales, no alcohol trade, no alcohol drinking, nothing. Fauji, he was not frightened of anyone basically, and he put up his strong foot there. And then he opened up world's first school of ambidexterity, which is largely the only school in the world on ambidexterity. Up till now, he has trained almost 1,000 students on writing, with both hands in 2 different languages on 2 different subjects simultaneously. And it's a scientific process which he has proved that ambidexterity enhances mental capacity. And his children are so sharp. Today he has 600 children in his school. School has grown. HSBC has thrown in some money there, and some other organizations, they have submitted and offered some money to him. Now he wants that the school and the art should be expanded. I will be contacting him post-COVID to bring him here to IIT Roorkee to teach all my students how to write with both hands, especially for my Anushruti students. Anushruti is a school which we are running for past 29 years in IIT Roorkee. It is our CSR project. It is for deaf students, deaf children. So deaf children from all the surrounding areas, they come here to study in our school. So it's a full-fledged school within the campus. So I'll be bringing Virangat Sharma and his team or his team to teach my deaf students who cannot hear. Because if those students will learn writing with both hands, 2 subjects, 2 languages simultaneously, their intelligence would go high basically. And I want those deaf students to become doctors, engineers, and play a very large part in their lives actually. So you see, Virangat Sharma, by a simple change in writing habit of a student, changed the socio-economic cultural fabric of a complete village. And today he has changed the complete economy of the village. Because he has so many learned students. Many of them have become PCS officers, IAS officers. I don't know of IAS, PCS I know. And many of the people they have become professors and teachers now. So that is one of the most brilliant kind of examples I have ever seen in my life in terms of design thinking, innovation, and creativity. I hope I am able to justify the conceptual underpinning of design thinking, innovation, and creativity. I've been talking continuously for past 25 minutes. I deserve some pause and some questions from your side. And then
what's the difference between creative thinking and innovation, Madam?
Yeah,
creativity Creativity and innovation, the differences.
What difference it is? Innovation is propelled through creativity. Creativity is, putting up imagination, visualizing things and putting up on structure is innovation basically. And utilizing that innovation for the complete process is design thinking. Creativity is like looking at a bird and imagining an aeroplane. And design thinking is that how to produce the aeroplane and what would the aeroplane do. Could I answer your question? Yeah. Anyone else? Out of 80 people, only one question? No. I deserve better. I deserve much better. Yes. And believe me, if you would be in front of me, basically, if Prabhatji would have invited me there at Kanpur, I would have compelled all of you to talk. Yes. And I have one more Vinay in this meeting, basically. Two Vinods are there. So Mr. Vinay and Mr. Vinod and Mr. Vinod. Yeah. Would you like to ask me something for being the same namesake, actually? No? Anyone else? Okay. If you don't want to ask me, add something. Share with me some example on the way I have suggested some example to you.
Sir,
Yes.
actually, initially, when you started with the shopping mall example, so you were asking about how you will go about all 76 of us deciding about the inventory management in the shopping mall. So if
Right.
we are to enter into the shopping mall, what is your answer to the inventory management and operations? So how will we display the items in the shopping mall?
I want you to think of this and please come back tomorrow and answer me briefly, and then I'll explain the complete process. That question
Okay, sir.
I want to traverse in tomorrow's discussion. It's a tough question. It's not a simple question, ma'am. But then definitely students, they ask tough questions in our classes.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
And
Thank you, sir.
that is why they are paid millions of salaries, and we still remain at yeah. So
You have very good students, sir, at IIT. You have very good students.
that way we are blessed. Yes, but all the students are good. Believe me, I always did not teach at IIT. I have taught at very small institutions also. So, but to me, all the students are same.
What is lateral thinking, Professor? What is lateral thinking?
What is lateral thinking? That I will talk about in process tomorrow.
Very nice and interactive session, Professor. Thank you very much, Professor.
Yeah. Anyone else?
So when Dr. Katyan had asked you about Nokia, and you said that not to quote it anywhere, but the Finnish are actually quite rigid with their ideas. You also said that the Japanese and the Koreans are very flexible, but what I have found in India is basically Honda is pretty rigid. I don't know what kind of a mindset they came with in India, but their quality has deteriorated. Their products are grossly overpriced in comparison to their competitors. For example, if I take the Honda City, the 4th gen that is on the roads now, it is supposed to be good, but its main competitor was the Ciaz and the Hyundai Verna. The Verna it has almost gone off the radar now, and the Ciaz is getting there. But most Honda customers, they have a lot of complaints with the quality, and there have been rusting issues, there have been recalls, but Honda still maintains a seeming aura of superiority. whereas Suzuki usually does not. There was one more point that I wanted to add about Maruti when we're talking about this redesigns and facelifts. What I have found, what Maruti does when it launches its cars with so-called facelifts are usually just stickering jobs and maybe a few changes to the plastic parts only, but no sheet metal changes as such anytime. Even the new CS that has been launched, the BS6 Avatar with the petrol engine only, it also comes with the headlight shape is the same, only the internal elements they have been, I think, rearranged, and the bumpers are different because it is easier and slightly cheaper to change plastic molded parts compared to metal. But then, do you have any idea why Honda is still, plays the superiority card here, whereas its actual quality has deteriorated very badly?
You see, there is two elements which are associated with Honda. Honda primarily has always focused on two-wheelers in India, actually. You see, Honda originally came to India because of two-wheelers. They remained two-wheeler leaders with Hero Motors. They still rule this country in terms of Honda Activa.
Yes.
Urban auto sales, Honda is the largest selling automotive company in this country, basically. So, and their revenue stream, their interest in a particular kind of a revenue stream is more or less related to urban automotive sales and precisely Honda Activa, actually. So that is their focus area. And apart from that, motorcycles is just to put up a bouquet. Cars also is just to put up, their presence here in India, because you see, they have a compulsion. If they do not introduce four-wheelers in a country, wherever they go with two-wheelers, their brand image would not be justified in terms of Honda being Honda, basically. Now, when they come up with automotives in terms of four-wheelers, they very well knew that Suzuki is ruling the world, actually. This country largely, sorry. So now, and when Suzuki is ruling almost, from lower to, let's say, something lower than the upper segment, kind of. So whole segment is being actually ruled by Suzuki. Now, and uppermost segment, neither Suzuki would go nor Honda would go, because fundamentally that is domain of Toyotas or Mercedes, BMWs, kind of. So there is a big question for strategists sitting in Honda. He is not allowed to go for excessive production. He is not allowed to go for kind of larger head-on collisions with several automotive manufacturers in India. So he has to justify his books. So he banks upon the largest selling model around the world, that is City, which is widely accepted around the world. And that there too he focuses upon the simplest of the City models, basically, which is not so actually, you see, if you will drive City in Middle East, that is extremely different as compared to what City we have in India, actually.
And it's been tailor-made for
that Middle East City is very cost-effective model as compared to whatever we have in India, basically. So what they decided was, now this is marketing and human resource kind of a perspective. You see, they decided was that City is to be marketed to people who are just looking for change. They cannot go for Mercedes or BMWs or those kind of, and they cannot come down to Alto or something, basically. So, mid to mid, or I should say somewhere between mid and up and whatever you wish to say. So that kind of a segment who's craving for something different, actually, because they are middle income group, they are running between 40s and 50s, their children are in high school and intermediate, and they do not want to come back home telling their children that I have purchased another Maruti Suzuki. So their children would say, oh, Papa, what have you done? All my colleagues, they are having Mercedes Benz and BMWs and those, and at least you should have purchased a separate car. So that is where Honda City has, fit in. That is how, Honda brought in some other vehicles also. But again, the point is, Indians do not want to pay for those kind of vehicles to the tune of 30-35 lakh rupees, because Indians are more focused on SUVs in terms of 30-35 lakh rupees now. As such, because Indian wants big and sturdy and height also. So that is the kind of thing, basically. That is why you see Enfield could be revived. Enfield is again big and height and that kind of a thing. Na? So Siddharth Lal, he revived Enfield in those terms. So Honda was a confused kind of a positioning, but they could not wash away from four-wheelers. You see, given a choice, if you ask Honda today that would you want to remain in this country, they would say it would be a loss-making proposition. For example, they again introduced, Brio for just the sake of introduction of Brio. Brio is a wonderful car, but they did not market it well. They focused on Amaze for a while, because their brand manager, was very effective in terms of marketing Amaze. But again, that was also not very effective in terms of sales. On the other side, Maruti Suzuki, they had Dzire platform, this mid-segment platform. It became a largest selling car. Now they utilize the same platform for going left, right, and center actually. So they said, okay, Ciaz also, and then Brezza also, and this also, and Brezza they designed completely in India. Then on the other side, the most intelligent thing Maruti Suzuki which they did was that they came up with Nexa branding, because they realized that somehow Nexa is going to reposition them in front of the customers as not just a car manufacturing company who doesn't care, to a car manufacturing company who always cares. So that is how they went for Nexa kind of thing. So that is why Honda, somehow is not.
So Maruti basically they tried to go from the common man's car to being an aspirational brand to some extent, at least.
Not in terms of car, in terms of service, because they know that they would never become an aspirational car for anyone actually.
That is
so that because you see, as far as aspirations go, whenever you change the bracket from 15 lakhs plus, so then you have a very different kind of structure in front of you. That is why Maruti Suzuki is struggling with the thought of bringing in Jimny on board for the last 2.5 years. They are producing 600 Jimnys every day in this country.
For
and
export
they are
markets,
exporting
yes.
it completely.
South
So they
America.
are toying with this idea of 2-door Jimny or 4-door Jimny, and they are not yet sure on. And they have declared it thrice in last 2 years that they are coming up with Jimny. But again, they are just, they're
struggling with the price, I suppose.
introducing an SUV basically. Incidentally, in terms of automotives, I have lots of information because I have access to 2-3 people who are at the helm of the affairs. Nowadays, one of my colleagues, he was managing director of Nissan Motors India, Arun Malhotra ji. So he is a professor of practice with us at the Department of Management Studies, my B school. And he was vice president of Maruti Suzuki and Mahindra as well. So I hear so many stories from him, and whenever he comes to campus. So that's why I have this precise information actually.
So Nissan and Renault, they have this tie-up, right, for platform sharing, I think.
They had this tie-up, but nowadays technology is being sold between automotive manufacturers at a different kind of levels. For example, Mahindra is still purchasing several kinds of technological inputs from Renault, because Mahindra is still carrying several elements of their engine manufacturing from Renault. So Renault is their technological advisor. In same, Nissan is also there, because initially Mahindra, Renault, and Nissan, they were in collaboration with each other.
Logan.
So nowadays, they are different companies. They are earning different profits, but technology transfer they have with each other, and that has a compulsion also, because IP remains there for n number of years, even if you dissociate. For example, Hero and Honda, they have IP sharing still in some cases. Now they are dissociating.
So any idea about Mahindra and SsangYong? Are they still on?
They are still. You see, Mahindra purchased SsangYong actually. So Mahindra would be wiping off, probably, as they say, or we have heard. But I'm not sure that Mahindra, kind of a stabilized organization, would shelve off SsangYong so easily. So they might think in terms of developing, another. You see, today all these are not only automotive companies; they are design and manufacturing and technology and technical companies. So they can utilize their plant and human resource for several kinds of processes which they want to go for.
Because right now, I think from that collaboration, they only have the XUV300. Other than the other Rexton, it sank without a trace anyway. So thank you so much.
Right. So nice interactive session. I enjoyed it, and I thank everyone who has given me so many inputs. So I don't know if I should be exiting now or no, if Prabhatji would allow me to do that.
Sir, I just have a
Sir?
small question.
Sure, please.
Yeah. Extending the question of what sir was asking on, there is a tie-up between Toyota and Maruti. Even though Maruti doesn't need a tie-up, Maruti Suzuki doesn't need a tie-up in Indian market. They came into a tie-up with the Toyota with
Sorry, yeah.
technology and others. So can you just
I
focus on
lost your
this?
voice in between. I lost in voice in between.
Yeah, Maruti Suzuki is a leader, definitely in the low segment of the market in India. They don't need a partnership as such in that particular end. But Toyota, they have entered into a tie-up with Toyota. So can you just give the reasoning why they had to go with Toyota? Both of them are
Actually,
Japanese manufacturing companies as well.
I think actually
No,
Toyota
you
has
see,
a tie-up with Maruti.
in business, there is an apparent war, ma'am. Remember one thing, basically, that is my observation. In business, war is just at the brand levels in terms of customers, basically. You see, I'll give you one example. Whirlpool was the first CFC-free manufacturing, refrigerator manufacturing company in this country. So they initiated a plant in Pune on CFC-free compressors, and almost all the manufacturers were purchasing compressors from them. So now in refrigerator, what is beyond compressor basically? Nothing. Otherwise, it's just an almirah. So Whirlpool was supplying compressors to almost everyone, and Whirlpool was also fighting a brand war with others on the basis of same compressors. So customer never knew this. Why should customer bother from where compressors are manufactured? So all these manufacturers in this world, they fight a war on brand levels. Basically, they never fight a war at the level of technology sharing or let's say those kind of things, because they understand get remaining associated on their fort areas and keeping their enemies dependent upon them on the price equation basically is always a fruitful kind of an exercise. And the second, whosoever is purchasing the technology from someone, he knows, he always believes that why to bother ourselves for creating a new technological perspective, that if I would not purchase it from him, it would go waste for him. So if he would sell us anyways, and then you see, customer would never know this. Just to give you a clue, and I will start my discussion from this point only tomorrow, just to give you a clue, whole of this world behaves in a consolidated fashion basically. You see, you would be surprised to know that there are very few companies in this world which produce semiconductors. Now, those semiconductors are utilized almost everywhere. There are very few companies which produce chemicals, adhesives and those kind of things which are used almost everywhere. If they put on their plant today, almost all the manufacturers would shut off.
Zippers
So
as well, sir.
There are several consolidated businesses in this world. For example, whole of this world's diamonds are being controlled by Diamond Trading Corporation. Actually, customer is least bothered on from where from where the diamond is coming. Customer is bothered on from where he is purchasing actually. So brand wars are there. No manufacturing war is there. Manufacturing war kills all the organizations, and they know that. So, have I answered your query?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, Pravatji,
Sir,
shall I take your leave?
sir, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being with us. It was
Thank you
really
very much,
such
sir.
a nice, informative, engaging session. It was not at all. You have strived a lot to engage the people who were not even willing to. So thank you so much, and congratulations for your very successful session, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. Bye bye. See you tomorrow then.
Thank you, sir. So, dear all, we will be meeting at 2:30, just after 1 hour. So please enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.